What's up, guys, and welcome to another Blitz Brawl. And it is a very special one we've got today. But before we dive into just how special it is, let's jump over to a very special person. Mr. Robo, how are we doing today?
I'm doing just fine. We've got the spring weather here over in Illinois, and that means thunderstorms and tornadoes. But you know what's also going to be stormy in an exciting way? Today's Blitz match. We've got Mpire versus Gravy, and they are going to be squaring off using the 80 gold pre-constructed tutorial Blitz armies.
Yep.
They're going to be showing everybody at home the full power of what you can do with a pre-con list.
Exactly. So those who backed on the Kickstarter or those who will be purchasing the game when it's available in retail, whether you're here now, whether you've magically come here 1 year in the future, hello Doc Brown, how are you doing? You guys have found the right place because this is where you can learn exactly how to pilot these decks based on how Legacy Allure is made. The balance changes. Even if you watch this in 10 years' time, there's a chance that the balance between these on these cards is very, very minorly changed. So positioning the play, how you play them in general, how you even lay them out, shall we say, is going to be identified right here for you. And these guys are going to, I'd say, rock it, but we'll judge that at the end, shall we?
We'll see how they do, but I would be surprised if they don't show some cool moves.
Indeed. Anyway, let's jump into the game, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Okay, so we are into the game. The starter decks, starter deck v starter deck. Kaar'thul v Tristan. No draft in here, as these cards are already on the board. They're pre-con decks. Mr. Robo, speak us through this matchup. What can we expect to see?
Absolutely. Here's what we are going to see today. We are going to see Mpire playing Gath with a Kaar'thul hero being very much the aggressor in this matchup. Gath is normally the aggressive player anyway, but with Mpire being the attacker, and with this particular lineup, that's going to be highlighted even more. He's bringing a ton of strong, high-powered charging units to the board, and with his Battle Fury card, he can make any of his units a charger. So we're going to be seeing a lot of high damage, explosive plays from the red side of the board. And when it comes to Gravy, the blue player with a Tristan hero, he is going to be the defender in more ways than one. Not only is he going second, but Erengard is typically a balanced faction that can play the role of either attacker or defender, depending on what his opponent is going for. And we can see that with his units with high armor value, reducing physical damage, and his ranged units like his Archer and his Tempest Mage, he's going to be playing the keep away game with Mpire. And here we go, we're showing that right now with Mpire trying to flank around his opponent and Gravy activating Tactician to give a buff of
Plus one range?
+1 range, I believe. Yeah, +1 range to his elite longbow archer.
Which would put the Goblin Flanker in range now, right? To be able to remove it.
Yes, sir, it is within range, and I don't think that there's a whole lot Mpire can do with that. I'm not sure he was expecting that play from his opponent right out of the gate.
Yeah.
But what we might see is the other flanker moving in.
Yeah. But there's no need to take the Goblin Flanker tap now, right? Because you take that action now. It's an easy action to take, to go, okay, I'll clear it off the board because it feels good. Oh, they are going to take it. Okay, my bad. What I was going to say, and I'm not saying by any minute that's the wrong play, but by leaving that range open, right? If anything now goes to center, or if anyone goes anywhere else, you can potentially push damage elsewhere if needed.
Exactly. Now, part of the reason why you might want to take that Goblin Flanker now is that it is a safe option. So this is part of what's really interesting about Legacy Allure. It's balancing out your safe options that don't break your defensive formation or your defensive line, but leaving your options open to counter your opponent. Like, for example, if that elite longbow archer was still active, it could then take out the Skorg Hellion instead of the flanker potentially. But Gravy choosing to keep his defenses up and take the flanker right away, I don't think it's a bad play. And Mpire not afraid to throw his men's lives away, not afraid to push up that aggressive line as much as possible, closing in around that center hex, which longtime viewers will know the win condition for this game is capturing that golden hex in the middle. You've got to hold the high ground in order to get the win.
Indeed. Now, something I want to point out quickly, because it's something that I'm sure a lot of new players will be wondering, is you can see that Kaar'thul has Chain Lightning Bolt 1 and Lightning Bolt 2. And you can take the same spell in different values, right? You can just choose which one you use. So, for example, they both, one has the mana cost, and Lightning Bolt 1 has no mana cost, but is just 2 damage from range. So you can take the same spells duplicated, and they give you versatility and options, right?
Yes, sir, exactly. And the most common instance that you'll see of that is with Kaar'thul's Lightning Bolt, because Lightning Bolt 1 does not cost any mana to cast, and it's essentially free damage at the end of Kaar'thul's movement if used right.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. So we can see now that you like already that arrowhead, right, starting to appear kind of in the Arengard faction.
Exactly.
Kind of getting those armored units up the front, the arrowhead, keeping those ranged units, the Adept, Tempest Mage, and the Elite Longbow Archer back there, pinging that damage from range.
What I always like to think about it is exactly like chess. We're seeing, on the aggressive player side, on the attacker side, we're seeing Mpire develop what would be his minor pieces in chess, his knights, his bishops, and sort of leaving his pawn structure to the side, worrying about that later. But on Gravy's side, he's really setting up those, like, pointy pawn structures where they're guarding each other. And that's one thing that I think is really cool about this game. There's a lot of parallels to chess in very interesting ways. Razormane Manticore closing in, ready to try and deal some damage to the physical-based units on the Arengard side, like the Swordsman, like the Pikeman, and most importantly, that Ultra Knight.
Yep. This card is incredibly annoying to deal with because the flying mean it can pretty much get anywhere it wants to go within three hexes. But the also physical damage return 4, meaning any damage that is dealt to this card, retaliation damage or attack damage, anything like that, right? It takes damage back based on the physical damage return.
That is correct. And I'm looking at Gravy's side, and I'm not really sure what he wants to do right now. I'm not seeing any particularly good plays. This could be a time where Gravy starts skipping relatively early just to go first in the next round. Tristan moving up 1, I like it. It keeps him safe from a lot of Empire's damage-dealing options, while still keeping, like I was saying, those triangles of protection that I always like to see in this game. Units guarding each other.
Yeah, and also starts threatening that center hex, right? Because Tristan has currently 8 hit points with the two shield on there as well. And with cards like Arrest or even Shield Bash, can be really threatening on those big units, kind of taking them out of the turn out of the game for a turn, or sorry, for a whole round. Can be absolutely devastating, especially with cards like the Minotaur, the Fire-Fist Minotaur, or maybe even the Razormane Manticore.
Yeah, that is something that, that is something that Empire definitely has to watch out for. I've been caught off guard more than once by a clever Tristan Arrest preventing one of my units from attacking. But here we go again with Gath really firing away at the aggressive plays. Round 1, capturing that center hex, not having any fear. It doesn't matter that there's an Ultra Knight and a Knight that can check that Cave Troll. Empire's going for it. He's willing to risk it.
Well, I suppose when you're carrying a broadsword, we're talking like this is Cloud-esque broadsword size of 5 damage, right? When you're carrying that kind of damage, you can't be messed with. And you've got 8 health points, 9 hit points including the shield. No one's going to be running into you and going, hey, I'm just going to kind of just tickle you a little bit, because a tickle leads to 5 damage to the face. In your face, get out of here. Wow.
And that's one thing I always appreciate about games that I play. When the vanilla cards are good and worth playing, to me, I always enjoy that. And Cave Troll is no exception.
Well, I mean, not to bang on about it loads. We speak about it a lot anyway, but you say vanilla cards. There's no rarity in Legacy Allure, right? That's one of the things that really stands out. There's no legendaries, there's no mythics, there's no commons, there's no uncommons. There's cards, there's units, there's gold value, there's cards. As we know, Squire is the best card in the game, coming in at 2 gold. Still the best card in the game. So
Best card in the game.
you can take
Absolutely.
all of your cave trolls you want, but it only takes one Squire in the right situation to beat a cave troll. That's what I'm saying.
That is honestly true. When the win condition of the game isn't determined by how hard you hit your opponent, but by how well you outplay and maneuver around them, Squires can absolutely beat cave trolls in the right context.
Definitely.
And here we go. We're seeing the Troll Doctor sort of move into position. We're seeing Empire divide his army into 2 chunks. We've got one on the left and one on the right. He's going for a sort of divide and conquer strategy here, really trying to eliminate as many Erangard units as he can before round 7 rolls around. I think that's really smart, given the current setup he has. And I'm looking forward to see how it plays out for him.
Yeah, indeed. Now, the Fireface Minotaur is something that's going to really good to deal with those knights, because the imbued and the burn, right? Burn being magic damage, imbued meaning that damage dealt is magic damage, which means it bypasses this armor that you see knight carrying 1 armor and the ultra knight carrying 1 armor. It just goes, I see your armor, but I'm going to just ignore it and deal that damage straight to your face. And that's going to be... I think it's so important Empire keeps the Fireface Minotaur alive around until later in the game, so it can deal with at least one of those problematic knights.
Now, this is really interesting. I'm seeing a play on Gravy's side. If Gravy wants, he could capture that grunt with his Ultra Knight right now. And that might seem like a very tempting play, but it does put his Ultra Knight in a lot of danger, being right next to that Firefist Minotaur and Kaar'thul. With Kaar'thul having Chain Lightning too, this could be a very devastating next round on Empire's side. Is capturing that grunt really worth it? I don't know. It might be better for Gravy to, again, try to skip out here and go first in the next round. Either disarm or exhaust that cave troll with one of Tristan's abilities. And I think that's what Gravy's going for. Oh, he's going to deal 2 damage to the cave troll with his Tempest Mage.
Nice. Crag Wyvern, one of my favorite cards in the game. This card is insane because 4 range, flying and charging. This is the flanker to beat all flankers. It is an absolute flanking beast.
Absolutely. For any newer players watching, Crag Wyvern is arguably one of the most important cards in the game. A well-placed Crag Wyvern during draft can cripple many strategies out there. It can fly in, and it can take out one of your important casters right away. So always be aware that when you're playing Gath, they have a card with 3 power, 4 movement, and flying. And that is something that Gravy himself is going to have to watch during this game, because if that Crag Wyvern goes there, it is threatening that Tempest Mage at the start of the next round.
Yep, indeed. And that is a clean sweep in, done, dusted, out of there. And even something like the Pegasus can't deal with it, because it has 4 hit points as well, 4 health points. So moving into round 2, and we can see that Gravy choosing or managing to go first, bringing a knight around the back and getting rid of the archer, which is a nice play, because again, this imbued, the 2 damage at range is 3 damage on the knights, right? So it's a nice, it's a nice way of dealing with, of getting rid of that one of the damage outlets that Empire has to deal with those armor units.
Yeah, there is a trade-off, though. The knight does receive 1 burn for taking out that Vesuvian archer, so that is going to be a magic damage.
Yep.
At the start of the next round on that knight.
That's it. So burn, as we can see here, if we look at the back of it, because all the keywords are explained on the back of cards. Burn reads when this unit attacks or retaliates, the enemy unit has its burn counters increased to X, obviously 1 this time. At the start of each round, a unit with burn counters takes that much magic damage, then loses 1 burn counter. All burn counters on a unit are considered a single buff. So would lose to 1 at the start of the next round and gain 1 damage. If it had 4 burn on it, it would take 4 burn damage, right? And then tick down to 3.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing that we do want to note here is that Mpire is taking his time and he's thinking through his moves, because there's a lot of potential threats and a lot of ways to negate those threats. Empire's looking at this and he's thinking right now, okay, if my Skorg Hellion doesn't take out that Pikeman's going to take my Skorg Hellion. But if I don't take the Adept Tempest Mage with my Crag Wyvern, the Adept Tempest Mage is going to do something nasty, possibly even exhausting that Cave Troll. And like that's the kind of trade-off that we're looking at here. It's the start of round 2, and round 2 is when the action really kicks off. Pieces are going to be flying off this board very fast and very quick here, and we're going to see a lot of damage and carnage.
Oh, we're seeing some Chain Lightning action going on right now, right? Getting rid of the unit there and bringing and also pushing damage to Swordsman. Getting rid of the Pikeman there, and then also pushing 2 damage onto Swordsman. That was a pretty big play there, right, by the Kaar'thul.
Absolutely. Chain Lightning, one of the biggest abilities in the game, and don't you forget it. It is able to clear off so many enemy options, and Chain Lightning is one of the main tools that Gath has at their disposal to deal with swarm decks. Yep. If your opponent's swarming you with a bunch of 2 gold or 3 gold units, grab yourself a Chain Lightning and say, come near me. If you do, I'm wiping your board. And we just saw a little exchange there. Tristan using his Arrest ability to prevent the Cave Troll from attacking this round, yep. And the Troll Doctor removed that debuff.
Yep.
So now Tristan got +1 action from using his Arrest, and Tristan's going to move into position here and Shield Bash the Skorg, taking it out of play.
Very nice. So getting really good value out of Tristan there, using a bit of mana there to get the Arrest ability going. No mana on Arrest ability, but using the benefit of getting the +1 action to then come in and use the mana to get the Shield Bash out there. Nice play by Tristan, because that's exhausted Troll Doctor, right? Despite not being a debuff on Cave Troll now, exhausted Troll Doctor and got rid of the Skorg as well.
Yep, and Priest is going to heal off the damage from Chain Lightning on Swordsman, which means Swordsman can once again tangle with the enemy grunts or that Razormane Manticore if he's feeling really feisty.
Yep.
The play is now back over to our friend Mpire. Mpire did use his Crag Wyvern to take out that Tempest Mage. Gravy, interestingly enough, just kind of let it happen. He had some options on how to deal with it. But ultimately, I think it's going to be okay, because Gravy can theoretically take out that Crag Wyvern with his Longbow Archer and Pegasus.
Yes, and that Crag Wyvern as well is... at the moment, it's kind of scary, though, right? I mean, yeah, it's up there now, but you never want to look at the board and see a rather terrifying Wyvern just sat amongst the backline. Like, no one wants to see that. Like, that's a terrifying thought. So, yeah, as much as it can be removed, that does exhaust, again, 2 units on Gravy's side, and also at least one of them is going to be taking the retaliation damage as well.
Absolutely. Cave Troll moving back.
Okay. Worried.
That's very interesting.
A little bit worried about the potential dangers coming in then from center?
Oh, right. I see it now, because if Gravy used his Archer to deal damage to Cave Troll, Ultra Knight could then capture it.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, Mpire once again showing why he is considered one of the best players in the game, always thinking ahead and seeing stuff that not even we do, which is probably why we're stuck in the commentator's booth.
Indeed, yes. That is why we're up here. That is why we are, I'd say, doing a rather stelling job, casting in these games.
I'd say so as well.
But we're not quite down there on the battlefield, grueling it out in the trenches, shall we say.
Exactly.
But yeah, like you said, that's the kind of thing. I'd have been there like, 7 hit points still on Cave Troll. They're fine there. Don't worry about that. And then all of a sudden, gone. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
oh my goodness. Are we seeing the legendary play Tactician turning that Skyrain Pegasus into an equivalent threat to a Crag Wyvern here? I'm excited to see what buff he chooses to give that Pegasus. What is Gravy going to pick? I think it's going to be +1 power.
Yeah, we go.
Plus one power.
Yep.
This means that Skyrain Pegasus has the same power and movement now as a Crag Wyvern, and it is threatening that Troll Doctor.
Yep.
And there's nothing Empire can do about it. His healer's going to go down this round.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Healer's going to go down, which is, in Gaff, is incredibly important, right? Because those really big-bodied units, the Cave Troll, the Minotaur, the Manticore, even the Grunts at 4 health, having the ability to give them some sustain is such a key part of Gaff's kind of arsenal.
Absolutely. This could be huge. And right now, it is definitely looking favored for Gravy. The gold that's been captured is, definitely in Gravy's favor. And I would say positioning is actually looking to be a little bit in Gravy's favor as well. Though both players are doing a great job of controlling around the center hex, even though neither player is currently sitting on it. But I do want to say that being only 6 gold down on Empire's side, that is by no means a huge advantage. Empire could swing this around at any time and win the whole game.
Oh, indeed. Absolutely, indeed. It's really... I love looking at these mid-game or like early to mid-game pictures. Like take a screenshot and look at the positioning of units. I love seeing how they differ. And this way you kind of got... Empire's kind of a little bit, not all over the place, but you've got the flankers going in and around there. You've got the big units in the middle. And then you've got Arangard, very tight unit, but then the Knight off doing its little thing, wishing it was a Squire, but it's out there doing things. I love seeing these mid shots and seeing how the game's kind of panning out.
Oh my goodness. Woody, I don't think Gravy's going for the healer. I think he's going for the Fire Fist Minotaur.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see. So we have the Pegasus going in to do the free, taking itself, and then Ultra Knight cleaning up.
Yes, that's what I think is going to happen. All Gravy has to do is sort of move his units around, kind of stall out these actions a little bit, because he has more actions than Empire. And then Empire just kind of has to deal with the fallout of this.
Yeah, so a question is, then I have is, does Empire have any way of dealing with those knights when there's no Minotaur on the board?
I don't think he does. If this Fire Fist Minotaur goes down, this might just be the last swing. I wouldn't put it there, Empire. Oh no.
Oh, Gravy doesn't see it.
Yeah.
He's going for the Troll Doctor.
My goodness. Now we're going to go for it. Now we're going to go for it. Now we're going to go for the...
I think Gravy sees it. He's taking the Grunt instead.
Okay. Grunt instead. Well, it's his turn now. Empire's tapped. Takes the free.
Yep.
Pegasus is now out of the game.
Oh, no.
Dead. And now Ultra Knight comes in and eats up.
This is a huge swing.
Eats up the... Yeah.
A huge swing against Empire. Oh my goodness. Yep. Empire's last chance is to pull off a huge chain lightning and take out both of the knights in one shot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big ask, right? Because chain lightning pushes 3 down, 3-2-1. So he still needs to find 4 damage, not including armor, on that Ultra Knight to be able to get that max 3 damage on the chain lightning off as well. It's a lot to find. Well, there goes one knight. There we go. Cave Troll coming in, eating out one knight, which works because the burn you ticked right. So it put the damage on them, allowing Cave Troll to clean that up.
Exactly. Vesuvian Archer not going down in vain. That 1 burn damage was enough to take out that knight.
Oh,
Crag Wyvern getting captured by the Ultra Knight. I think this is actually good for Empire because it gets the Ultra Knight out of threat range of Kaar'thul and allows Mpire to regroup the remains of his army and see if he can't pull out a win.
Yep. Indeed, because it's easy to look at this now and go, oh, this is a tough place now for Mpire. Well, one, it's Mpire, who is an incredibly good player, but two, there's also a lot of damage still to be done on Empire's side. There's a lot that magic damage from Kaar'thul. The big threat, obviously, being the Ultra Knight, 15 gold unit, one of the most expensive units in the game, one of the best and most versatile units in the game as well. But
yep. Now I do want to cut in here, and I do want to explain the interaction that just happened on both sides. Kaar'thul used his Lightning Bolt 1 ability, which has combinable, so he can use the ability and then move, which he did to take out the last hit point on Swordsman, and then move away from Tristan. Tristan doing something similar, shield bashing the 1 health grunt to take it out, and then moving to check Kaar'thul.
Yep.
Then Razormane Manticore takes out the Elite Longbow Archer, and Priest moving into position to support his hero Tristan.
Yep.
We're back over to Empire's turn, and all he has left is a Troll Doctor, choosing to skip with it. Tactician also moving up. Swordsman closing in.
Interesting to see they're just kind of ignoring Center Hex right now because they're going on the offensive, right? Going very aggressive, saying, we've got 4 rounds left yet. Let's go on the offensive. Let's go on the aggressive here and push Gaff. They can smell blood. It's like a Predator movie, you know? They've realized that the Predator can bleed, and that is it now. If it can bleed, it can be killed. And they are chasing down this Gaff army.
Absolutely. And that's very much Gravy's playstyle. Always enjoy watching him on the battlefield. Very unique style. And once again, a cheeky Lightning Bolt 1 to take out the Priest. I don't think Gravy saw that coming. Now both healers are gone. So any damage that is dealt stays.
Yep, indeed, indeed. I mean, we still have a Cave Troll with 7 hit points and a Razormane Manticore that has 4 physical damage now sat on Center Hex. So
yeah.
Even if the Knight comes in, it's taking 3 damage back because the armor.
Yeah.
To the face. So this is going to be a tight game. It's not over yet. Tactician, although it buffs, it doesn't actually have any damage output itself.
Yep.
Oh, is that mean +1 power, which means it can clean out the Manticore, right?
I think so. I don't know if that's the wisest move at this point, because then that puts the Knight in range of Kaar'thul with quite a bit of damage on him.
Well, it would take 4 damage, so it would still have 4. Okay, so moving the Troll Doctor, knowing that now, if it does push the damage, right, and if it takes the 4 damage, Troll Doctor can kill it next turn. Because...
yeah, that Cave Troll's going to come in and whack it.
Yeah. quite simply that. Because well, no matter what, Empire... well, I say no matter what, actually. Empire would be going first, should Gravy choose to play an action out now.
That is actually an interesting idea. Gravy could just choose to skip out with his remaining units.
Ooh,
no, he's moving the Ultra Knight in. Okay, I think that's wise. The Razormane Manticore, very tempting, but he is going to need that Ultra Knight.
Yep, definitely. 1 mana, meaning 1 Shield Bash left on the Tristan. And we see him coming in now. And still 8 hit points on Tristan, which is rather terrifying. We see him coming in now and pushing the Shield Bash, right?
I don't think Tristan's going to do anything this round. What he's doing is he wants to get near that Razormane Manticore because Tristan is equipped with Sunblade. And Sunblade turns his attack into magic damage.
Indeed, indeed. And what's important to note as well is because a lot of the abilities of cards are magic damage, right? Because that's spells.
Yes, sir.
However, Shield Bash deliberately states deal 1 physical damage. So if he was to come in and Shield Bash a Manticore, he would have taken the physical damage back as well.
Yes, sir, he would have. We're going into round 5. We are officially in the end game. Play that Marvel soundtrack because it is the end game time. Empire is going first. I think he's going to want to try to hold center with this Razormane Manticore for as long as possible. His best chance might be to try and take out Tristan. I could see a Chain Lightning coming here to put Tristan's hit points down to 5 and then take him out with the Cave Troll.
Yep, I think that's very fair because, like you said, that the Sunblade does push a lot of threat on the Razor Main Manticore.
Yep, and that's exactly what just happened. So now, if Tristan doesn't do something like Arrest or Shield Bash, Cave
There
Troll's
we
going
go.
to take him out, and there comes the Arrest for the Disarm. That will be a problem for Empire.
Disarm,
Not sure how he's going to deal with this.
Disarm meaning that the card now has no attack.
That is correct. The card cannot attack or retaliate. Oh no, if Cave Troll can't retaliate, that means Ultra Knight can deal 5 damage to it at no penalty.
Yep, putting it on just 2 hit points. 2 health points left on a Cave Troll is rather terrifying. And this reminds me a little bit like I remember getting advised on Fallen Elemental, where just ignore it. Just ignore it, clear everything else off the board first, and then go ham on it. Exact same with the Razor Main Manticore with the 4 physical damage. Just ignore it. There's plenty of time. Clear the board off as much as you can, and then when the chance comes, when the time comes, everything at the physical 4 damage, get it off the board.
Absolutely. Empire really thinking through his options here, but I hate to say it, folks, this might just be the end for our Orcish hero. Cave Troll trying to find some way out of the situation. He's going to move away from Tristan. I think that's his best chance. Pikeman sacrificing his life for the greater good.
Yep. You did not die in vain. Well, you may not die in vain anyway, Mr. Pikeman.
He may not. We'll have to see. Razor Main Manticore also going to be running away from Tristan, trying to keep their last few options alive, the hope alive, going into round 7. Maybe Empire can find some way, the
+1 power. There you go. The +1 power on the Ultra Knight will mean it can clear the Cave Troll off. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's unfortunate. Yep, +1 power clears off the Cave Troll, and we are ending the round, going into round 6. Can Empire survive this round and then find some way to capture center? We'll have to find out. Kaar'thul doing his normal lightning bolt and bolt strategy. Get it? Because bolt has 2 meanings.
And remember, it's not about clearing your opponent's units off the board. It's about holding that center hex at the end of round 7.
Exactly. But now with Tristan in the center, Kaar'thul going down. Unfortunately, I think the rest may just be a formality, folks. Empire does look like he got outplayed. Round 7, he has no way to take out Tristan. Razor Main Manticore, you served us well, but you're going down to Tristan, and then Swordsman captures center. Or Ultra Knight, that works too.
Yeah.
And that is the game in Gravy's favor. Well played from both participants tonight.
That was a cracking game, a really good game from these guys, and a great showcase of how the starter decks can be played. It's it was a hell of a game. It was a very fun one to watch, and two of the best players in the game currently, showing just how powerful, how versatile, how different strategies can be played with those starter kingdoms. Because it's so easy to look at a starter deck, or as soon as you hear starter deck, as card game fans, you hear starter deck, you're like, come on, I don't want to play a starter deck. It's not the way it is. It's more based around mechanics, are a little bit easier to get into the game, but the versatility, the depth of the decks, the kingdoms does not change at all. There is so much that can be done.
Absolutely. The starter decks are just as powerful as anything you can find out there. So if you're looking to jump into Legacy's Allure, grab yourself a starter kingdom. Don't be afraid to play those pre-constructed Blitz games, and have fun. Join us on Discord. We'll see you there.
Indeed. Until next time, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.